it's going to collect information faster than us. It's going to give us information and it will give us its take faster than us, but it's not smarter than us yet. It depends on the job, but it's like right now, AI is really good at the mundane. It's really good at the simple. And then it's really good at enabling us. We should embrace that instead of saying, well, the robots, like my robot did not tell me that.
Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. Today's show is sponsored by Ringmaster, on a mission to launch B2B podcasts that create relationships, generate revenue, and drive growth. Ringmasterlive.com. Bam. All right, here we go. I hit the button. The train is leaving the station. The roller coaster is a-going.
I love it.
Here we go. So, hey, who is this guy? Who's this mysterious guest I have here? Well, if you didn't already see the name because we just surprised you with this person, this is the one to listen to right here. He is a B2B marketing, sales, tech thought leader of thought leaders, right? Like, he is the guy where the year before 12 people came to the event. They're like, oh, he's going to be there? 1,200 people, 12,000 people come to the event. He's been the editor of Funnelholic, co-founded Topo. He's been at Gartner, co-host of the very popular podcast, The Transaction, chief platform officer at Scale Venture Partners, Craig Rosenberg. Welcome to the show, sir.
Dude, that was the best intro. God dang it. Can we just stop the show? Like, that was so good. It was so good.
I mean, you're right. We should just end it here. Hey, Craig, thanks for coming, man. That was really, really good. Appreciate you. All right, we'll see you guys all next time. Okay, but let's say we kept going. All right, so hey, I gotta pass you something, and it's heavy, but you seem like the kind of guy who works out. So here, one sec. Here. Okay, Craig, go ahead and grab Thor's hammer. You can grab it.
Boom.
Wow. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, one-handed grab of Thor's hammer.
I'm just holding it in the air. Yeah.
I don't know what you're eating out there in California, avocados, almonds, but dude, Craig, take Thor's hammer, smash for me some kind of marketing myth, bogus strategy, misconception, set the record straight once and for all.
I am happy to do this. I'm going to bust a myth and agree with the myth at the same time. It's a storyline. Just follow with me. Okay.
Yeah, this sounds on brand, so I'm ready.
Well, it still includes opinion. Most people that do that and they say agree and disagree, or they say yes and no, they're actually not going to say anything. But like, I want to talk about, in that New York Times article about AI, it was by the way, it's a talk of the town in tech. It was a brutal takedown, a hit job, as you were. And I want to I'll just take the one piece and then we'll bust on this. So, basically they took a MIT State of AI in Business 2025 data point, which is only 5% of companies that have adopted AI have seen any ROI. And so that, that's a pretty brutal number. I mean, really brutal. I wasn't sure about shots fired. I know. So look, here's the thing. Well, one is it's across the board, right? So like I'm in go-to-market, so we'll address that. But so here's the takedown, and then I'll go with the agreement second. Okay. So I'll give a nuanced takedown. So one is right now AI is about individual productivity. And so when a executive talks about ROI, like in our world, Casey, they're looking at lift and or in marketing, since we both live there, conversion rates. There's one. And of course, like that we have not seen ROI there from AI, but like, are we looking at the the right things now. So like in my opinion, I'm going to agree with the data point from a traditional look at ROI. I'm going to disagree with that statement because I think the opposite has happened for the individual. So the way you want to think about that number is like this. Right now, phase one of the AI game change is about productivity. Okay. Measure that differently. You could look at a couple things. One is you might look at revenue per employee, right? Now, I don't have the benchmarks of that, so I was hesitant to sort of bring it up. I'm working on that. But like, you know, uh, we're starting to look at that from, our companies and like the ones that it's just patently obvious, like in a go-to-market perspective, that these AI first companies don't need, you know, the number of people in marketing or in sales that they've needed before, or, like many of them don't have SDRs and these things, although I disagree with that. But but AI has that. So that's a productivity look at the business. And I can understand if, a Fortune 500 company that MIT looked at doesn't see that. I can understand if the CMO can't go into the executive board meeting and say, look, we used AI and conversion rates went up. Because if you look at the data, win rates are down in sales. Demand gen's harder than ever unless you're like Cursor and it's just the waves are flowing down to the beach. So I get it, right? But I do disagree with it. So let me walk through. We actually, Casey, did a study with Benchmark on go-to-market AI. Call it over 200 folks that we surveyed. Okay, um, because we wanted to figure out what's going on. And so I have some data points. So one is ROI might only be at 5%, but impact is at a higher level. Like, for example, marketers have seen 46% of them say they've seen a big impact. So if we asked them for ROI, they couldn't give that, but impact is happening, right? Sales development, 36%, sales, 25%, which is actually pretty low. But still, let's just take marketing as an example, who can't come in and change that 5% ROI rate yet in the board meeting, but they've seen an impact. And so why is that? Well, like, we'll just stay on the marketing side. So 92% in that data, 92% of marketing teams are seeing productivity gains. That's where the impact is. Okay. And 92% of marketing teams. So I'm just focusing in on marketing. I can take any of the other functions and give you the data there. But like, let's just look at that. So 92% of marketing teams say that they're getting productivity gains. Okay. And by the way, roughly 90% of them are, using AI regularly. So those two things are really interesting. Okay. But look at what's happening here. It's low-hanging fruit use cases. It's 97% of marketers are using AI to draft messaging. That's having an impact. Now, even if you dig into that number, even if they're still humans in the loop, but like, that process of coming through everything, the AI is starting it for them. 73% are doing their market research on there. So like, these are the use cases. So you see what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm using the Thor hammer here, because like, are we looking at the right things?
Right. Oh, this is crazy though, because if you have 100,000 employees, you're at one of these larger companies that you were surveyed, and marketing has been dramatically impacted, that productivity per employee may not even budge at all because there's so many employees and the rest of them may not be using it, right?
That's right. There's the breadth of the survey, which is like on an enterprise level. If you're a CEO or in the, COO, and you're looking at your business and you're going to say, well, we're not getting ROI, you could look at it even in a smaller company and say, because I mean, it's, if you just said, let's just look at marketing. The issue is we're not necessarily looking at the fact that they're doing more with less, because we're still in this massive adjustment period and particularly in tech on what works from a demand gen perspective. That's why guys like you are surging because right we have there's a new mix that's like driving stuff and it's hard to track and all these things and like so like we don't have necessarily an ROI lift story yet, but we do have a a productivity story in the function. So yeah, but you're right. Like the big one is that number looks at the entire organization and anything that's happening on the go-to-market side is going to get washed out.
Right. But now marketing could have an could use that impact to try to show ROI, but we're not in that phase yet. You mentioned phase 1 is productivity. Do we know what the other phases are?
Well, phase two will be you know, conversion rate and actual lift, right? But the issue is we're still sort of figuring out that the vendor community is still figuring out the marketing community because look, when we asked marketing teams like, are you using AI for campaign analysis, lead scoring, et cetera, and the impacts on pipeline and conversion rates, it's a small number that's doing it, but like they are 3 times more likely to be seeing impact. It's just that it's not as common of a use case and people are figuring it out, but you can see where this is going, right? So like 30% of them said that AI helped them increase conversion. That's actually pretty good, right? For now. But like those that are not using AI are 6%. So like that's a 5x difference. Once this starts to proliferate, the ROI numbers, that 5% number, if you try to apply it to market, that will change. Right. But like we're still figuring that out. That's phase two is like we can get ROI lift from AI. There's how could it not? Right? How could it not? Like we couldn't look at data and factors the way that we used to. Like today we can do amazing things. I'll give you an example, like just something as simple, you know this, right? So I'm going to see if I get a head nod from where you give me the Thor hammer, which is you can often increase conversion across everything from lead conversion to opportunity conversion to wins to churn rates by actually honing in on an ideal customer profile that works. So people knew that. That was ABM. We knew that, right? But like it was still on paper and it was still gut based. It was still there was data, but like we weren't able to look at things. Now you can look at a million things and come back with stuff you didn't even know about your customers that will tell you these are the guys that are better. Like Jordan Crawford, I don't know if you've had him on the show, but like that guy is like, oh, he's the AI demand guy now. Okay. And his thing is like, look, even if you're a small company, throw 5 of your customers into AI and ask it to come back and categorize them with the factors that are common between them. And at least 2 of those things you would never have thought of. And that is so powerful. And then if you take that, everyone goes, well, you still have to execute. Of course you do. But like if you're executing against a better set of accounts and people that's data driven, that you will inherently do better. My favorite story is I remember Nick Mehta, he just left Gainsight. He was there for what, 13 years. And he had this storyline. His company did CS. They did churn. Like that's what they help people with. And he's like, well, let me tell you about at Gainsight by modifying and honing in on our ideal customer profile, we increased our retention rates, right? From, something that was, I'm sure he didn't give the numbers and I don't have them in front of me, but like something that was frankly for them having a solution that helps with retention, embarrassing to something remarkable. And they did that by just changing the types of companies they went after and sold to. So like that's a perfect example. And AI could do this now. Like you could do it right now. You could go grab Clay and go do an analysis. You could put your customers into, Gemini and this thing's going to come out. Like you can go do that. So that's an example there.
Literally gonna go do that right after the pod. Um, I'm trying to think of what do I give it the CRM download? Maybe I give it the QuickBooks statement of like, here's sort of like lifetime value of these customers too. So you get a sense for they were with me for a month, or because everyone knows that when you let in that absolute goofball that's not your ICP because you were high or something, that you're going to pay for it either at the beginning or the end. And, where does that get attributed? Who even knows? But yeah, man, like, yeah, but here's the thought. You were probably not going to credit AI with this monumental improvement to your retention and your acquisition because you did a report and you got help with your, like it's not really like a direct attribution. Like it helped you do the research and figure it out, but does it get credit?
Well, if you're a smart CMO or CRO and you want to keep your AI budget, then you will. And then the second part is like, look, with AI and its ability to eat data, you would be in a constant motion of finding subsegments to go target, and you'd be in a constant motion of tracking those in a way you've never been able to track before. I mean, like, and in real time. So, yeah, I mean, so yeah, when you put it that way and you call it a report, which is kind of true, initially, then yeah, but like if it changes the way you work and you're able to do it because you have AI, then if you're smart, you attribute it. The and then look, that was just an example, but like the campaign analysis stuff on kind of what works and what don't, Matt Amundsen, right? Like yeah. Look, by just putting his data into Snowflake and then having AI go look at it, he actually, that's like customer journey has been something we've been talking about forever, but nobody really did it. It was a slide. It was a slide. You would do the slide. And here's the journey. They look at stuff and then they, after they look at stuff, they choose. And it's like, thanks, man. Like he was like, no, if someone comes to our podcast and then follows the show, and then reads an email, those guys are more likely, like we are going to send them we'll send the SDRs in. That's the kind of lift that, you can only get by being able to truly analyze data. I think the third phase of AI will be to the actual effectuation of messaging. Like right now, you still want it to help you craft the messaging, but a human has to be in the loop there. Just now,
Yeah, there's some crazy AI spam, and like that's not it because it's worse.
by the way, Casey, you'll enjoy this. Well, for one is I thought now that I'm in venture that I would not get spam. I get so much spam because everyone thinks, we can uh, do all this stuff.
You're sitting on the all the gold coins.
So I get them all, and they're all AI. I mean, like 70% are AI because the subject line's all the same. The but by the way, I just did an AI. I know I just did an AI campaign to get people to follow my LinkedIn page, and here's my thought process. So I went through it. I said, "Oh God, I can't do this." And then what I did though was I messaged it in a way where I made fun of myself for sending an AI message. And I only sent it to friends who know that I'm funny. So I was able to get away with it. There was a couple people who called me out, and it was like, that's fine. I admitted up front, if you actually read the email, I said, yes, I'm sending you an AI message. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. By the way, I have a couple other things that I think are really interesting from the go-to-market AI perspective. So one, people do ask me about build versus buy. I think, as we sort things out and we expect that number that we set up front to change, how do we go do it? So this was really interesting. So we went and surveyed everyone. Okay, I'm just going to give everyone the numbers, then we can talk about it. Here's the punchline. It's build and buy.
Man, you are full of duality today.
I know. It feels like I'm not opinionated, but I am.
You are yin and yang at the same time.
So 37% purchasing AI native go-to-market tools. So that's buy. But 33% develop their own tools using LLMs. So that's close, right? And then 30% are attempting to adopt AI features from existing vendors. So that by the way, that was in order. So you've got a mix here. I think the most important thing people need to do on the go-to-market side is to spend a moment. Well, there's two parts. One is figure out how you work. It's like any tech buying. It's like, what are we doing and how do we work? And AI is, remember that, like in most cases, this is agentic. Like an agent is someone you hire. We look at it as tech, but actually, what if you flipped it and said, well, I'm going to hire an agent to go do that? It just happens to be a robot. In order to do that effectively, if you were going to hire, you would look at the work that needs to be done, and then you'd figure out what's better, more economical, more efficient, a robot or a person. That's one. So you got to do that. Number two is you got to learn to talk to the machines. So you want to create a situation where the whole organization is playing with AI. And you can do fun stuff with that. Like there's a bunch of companies I've run into that run hackathons with everyone in the go-to-market organization. You break them up though. Maybe you do groups of 15 and you have like your daily, your weekly hackathon you go through and people show what they went and built. And look, whether they use the enterprise guys would freak out on that. Oh, I can't have everyone building stuff. This is all about, sure, don't let them put it in production if you don't want, but they have to understand. And the vendors where you're going to buy, they are going to be better buyers if they understand AI. And by the way, you're also doing the right thing for them. Like this is like, you got to learn how to use this stuff. I haven't been playing with it now. By the way, I just asked it to look at a menu and see if there's anything diabetic friendly at it. It was amazing. It came back and told me what to order.
Yeah, I was definitely comparing the amount of carbs and vegetables the other day.
On using an LLM for that?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, for sure, dude. Like it. Yeah, anyway, sorry. All of us have these personal stories as we start to play with it. My son will ask me a question and I'll be like, bro, go to ChatGPT. And then he comes on, he reads it to me and I'm just going, interesting, ask it this. But that's part of what you want to do. You want to be able to figure it out because as you know, it's like, especially in a nuanced thing like go to market, the first question may not get you where you want to go. It's how do I talk to it and get it to where I need to go? Like, how can I see I mean, we had a portfolio company. The guy built every tool from a sales perspective that we know in copy.ai. Nuts. He built his forecasting tool, his call coaching tool, his content, repository, so he had copy, he had Gong, and he still had Salesforce. But by the way, most of the opportunity evaluation and inspection, all those things lived in AI. It was insane. The guy's got no budget, no RevOps guy, and built it himself over the weekend. But that's what I mean. Like, look, I have one of my AI founders. This guy's brilliant, by the way. His name's David Boscovich. You should have this guy on the show. He has remade his marketing team. He went from a high number of folks in the go-to-market org to like 5. And his numbers are going through the roof because he's such a developer. We call them go-to-market founders when they spend as much time in go-to-market as they do with product. And if they take that product mindset into go-to-market, it's insane, man. They look at everything and they're like, could we automate it? And this guy, but his point is, look, I built everything because build is a little bit ahead of buy right now. But when a vendor has built it, I will buy it from them because I want them to innovate and get better. It's just right now that's not the case. And I'm learning so much about what we need from automation. So it's like, just everyone should have an organization that learns how to talk to the machines. The other thing you need, though, is you want to have some kind of go-to-market engineering folks in the org. And you do that because then they can spend all day thinking about it. It's like we forget that RevOps and SalesOps was born out of two things. One was Salesforce.com management. The other was the tool explosion. We needed someone to just eat that information all day and figure out what to buy and how to implement it. It's the same thing now with go-to-market. You want someone. And it's a cool job for, you know, I, someone who just wants to fiddle and learn. And it's happening. Like 50% of organizations have hired or are considering hiring a go-to-market engineering team. And organizations hiring a go-to-market engineer are 30% likelier to be seeing big impact from AI. So that it it can work, and that's a big deal. Actually we had her name's Stevie K. She's the CRO of Vanta. They are heavy AI first org. And you know what she did? So she didn't do go-to-market engineers. She did founder in residence. She has folks that want to found companies come in and do a 9-month stint in her go-to-market organization where they can act like founders, look at all this incredible data, look at all these people doing the work, and get crazy founder-like creativity using AI in trying to disrupt how they work. It's brilliant. So anyway, all right, I dumped everything on you. I hope this is helpful to the show, but like let's net it out. So 5% ROI, I'll give it to them. I disagree with it. I just think they're looking at the wrong numbers and they're looking across the entire organization because honestly, you're crazy if you're not trying to figure out AI. Number two is if I give it to them and say, great, no problem. You want real ROI? That's phase two. That's when we start to figure out how to really manipulate how we sell and how we market. In the meantime, how you get started, get everyone on it, have some go-to-market engineer who owns it. Lack of knowledge is the biggest, hold back in this, and you got to get going because it's like you could look at those numbers and say, well, why would we do it? And I'd say, well, because the company and your competitive company is, and sure, right now we're in sort of a that number would tell you we're in the trough of disillusionment, and maybe we are, but like everyone knows that what comes after the trough of disillusionment is growth, and so like be ready to. I don't know if Gartner's called it that yet, but I just sort of look at that number and it's like this massive hit job, and it's like cool. That means you should totally invest in it, go the other way because it's going to come the other way. You let everyone test and figure out what doesn't work. That's right. That's right. So anyway, that I hope that was a good myth busting Thor hammer.
And you got a couple questions that I'm done to ask you now. So what do you consider a go-to-market engineer? What do they look like? What do they do all day other than drink Diet Dr. Pepper? Sponsor of the show, by the way.
Diet Dr. Pepper. I did not know that. That's a fun fact I'll need to add to the job description. I think it depends on your org. I mean, like, let me just call up something here that we had. I would say we don't know yet, but in the meantime, you want to think about your go-to-market AI engineer like this. All right. So their job is to design and automate AI systems for sales, marketing, and CS. Okay. So they're going to deploy and own AI agents, build infrastructure so that we can actually really change ROI, like full funnel look and feel. And then the connections. One of the biggest things is the data, right? You'll hear this when you talk to sophisticated folks is like, we need everything to connect. We need the CDP, the CRM, the analytics. We got to, that actually, that's actually a classic RevOps function, but you want these go-to-market engineers, AI engineers, because you want them to understand how AI can do it better. Okay. And so that's like, who is that? So I do think like it is better if they know go-to-market strategy. It's definitely better. They should embrace rev tech, like go-to-market tech. It's great if they have like some kind of scripting skills like Python, SQL, JavaScript. It just shows that they may not use it, but it just shows that they like to go deep. If they have built AI agents, nobody should get hired if they haven't built an AI agent because I mean, shit, I have one, at home.
What's it do? Does it like mow the grass for you or
like a real robot?
Yeah. What did your AI agent do?
I actually just built something for well, as my team. So I've got one is my sort of content topic generator. It takes in all the conversations that my teams had during the week and all their updates and comes back and says, here are the 2 or 3 trends happening in your group. And it looks at it all the time and it recommends kind of you know, what I should go talk about for my Tuesday meetings. And it happens automatically. It's built. So maybe it's not an agent. It's like a always on prompt, but like I got this guy on my team. He just goes crazy. The other one though is his similar idea sort of takes from, we have 45 virtual events a year. So it takes them and it's constantly reading them and saying like here, if you, and by the way, I haven't used it. If you looked at my content, it says here's like 3 points you should write about, on this. And so like that's the go-to-market side. On the personal side, I just use the search engine like you and have it look at foods that I should eat. I have diabetes, so like I gotta. It's been a godsend. It's been wrong, by the way. Sometimes, like sometimes I'll go over to Google and get a second opinion. But yeah, I just do it for on the personal side. But we have look, I got my team, they got agents like one of my guys does positioning for the portfolio and his AI agent, helps sort of as he's running the meeting, crunch all the data and create like uh a deck for them on what they should go do. I mean, we're just going crazy, having a lot of fun with it, man.
But, but it can get things wrong, right? And I definitely heard a lot of folks talk about, um, how you can it almost, like, backs you up or, like, reaffirms whatever you tell it if you say it the wrong way. So if you're like, "Hey, convince me that this stat is actually it's all because we've been doing direct mail." And then it does convince you that, and unless you're saying, "Hey, I give you permission to disagree with me," or like it's not likely gonna do that. It's just literally gonna follow your prompt. So this ties into a bigger question that came up. You earlier had said you have to learn how to talk to the machine. So what do you recommend?
Well, look, like first of all, you don't ask it like unless you're at home trying to have it look at a menu, like you don't you don't like today, look, the thing it is not intuitive enough to make the breakthrough for you. It's just not. Humans are better at that. But like I wouldn't hold on, you just had a great example and that's how old I am. I forgot the example you just gave. Oh, direct mail. It's like you would I'm gonna make this up, it's not gonna be perfect, but you wouldn't say, like, "Give me your opinion." I mean, you could, but, like, you'd want a set of opinions. You'd say, like, um, "How does direct mail's conversion rate, compare to others? What what has been, like, the" I'm just making this up. "How are the conversations different when they've received direct mail?" These are things that we typically had to look up, and that's what you want. And then you'd say, if you look across the board on the 3 ways that people have been using direct mail and how we compare to them, let me know. You're collecting those are the insights. Everyone wants to answer. Like, and that's not where we are yet. You just got to ask it questions to get your information that you wouldn't have got before, right? It's not like I would love its opinion. Like there's a whole new slew of CRM applications coming out and they're AI based and they're like God, I forget Doug. He's gonna kill me. Doug Campbell John's company. He showed it to me the other day, and the first screen you see is a Chat GPT like question box. You could just say, "Show me the Northeast region forecast." But like, and you could say, "Hey, do you think we're gonna hit the number? Tell me why." You don't say, "Okay, Chat GPT told me we're," or Doug's Coffee.ai. That's what they're called. Coffee.ai told me we're gonna hit the number. You say, "Look, I looked at the numbers." Right? And here's what I think because sure, you should take its opinion, but you need the insights and how they got there so that you can make a better opinion because you're going to have access to real-time information and data insights that you've never had before, and you'll have someone to run stuff by. The agent's your friend. Like, they might be wrong. It's probably going to be generic answers because they're not nuanced, but they are going to give you ideas. And that's when we say talk to the machine, you have to learn. You have to say, like, okay, it was wrong. So, like, now you got to adjust. I love that. Everyone's like, oh man, it was wrong. I can't use it. It's like, oh, it's better than the 23-year-old kid running through all your spreadsheets, coming back with their take. Like, they're wrong too. It's amazing. And one of the things that it expects, and it's because of the hype, makes makes us expect that it's going to be this brilliant machine that will be smarter than us. It's going to collect information faster than us. It's going to give us information, and it will give us its take faster than us, but it's not smarter than us yet. It depends on the job, but it's like right now, AI is really good at the mundane. It's really good at the simple. And then it's really good at enabling us. We should embrace that instead of saying, well, the robots, like my robot did not tell me that. It's like we just hold it to this insane expectation instead of embracing what it's good at. And by the way, we're sort of having this conversation and I'm sounding like this AI uh, sort of not enthusiast. That's not even the word, like evangelist. Um, I am, but like I believe that right now it is about they call it humans in the loop. I'm like, dude, this is just like this is about making humans better, faster, and stronger. And it's like the disappointment on the sales side and the SDR side is they wanted the AI to do the hardest job outbound and just do it for them. And it's like, well, you asked it to do the hardest job. But if you had to do a job that's ridiculous that a human does, like inbound, or like if you're open AI and you're getting hundreds of thousands of inbounds a day and you don't want to go through it, well, of course you would want a robot to score the leads, send the messages for you based on the score, and carry the conversation as far as of course you would. That makes sense. But like having it do the hardest job and send an email to your top customer, the CEO, like that's an expectation like that we're not there yet, and you're out of a job, and like that's just not the case yet. We asked it to do the hardest thing. It's like we're asking the coaching apps to give us the perfect answer while we're on a call. It's a recommendation. It should help you think faster. But like, if it figures out the perfect answer on a sales call, then that whole industry's wiped out, literally wiped out. And I don't think that's happening yet. Because for the complex, we will still need humans and their brains and the humanity that goes with it. So I'm not. I just believe we're talking about a mix. And but there's others that are like Jason Lemkin's like, man, I'm never going to hire a sales guy again. But like that's a different kind of sale. If you're selling ERP to Citibank, humans have got to be in play.
What does Jason sell?
Well, sponsorships to SaaStr.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, you could kiosk mode that.
Yeah, and by the way, he probably gets less discounting by using the robots. I mean, like, they're looking to be like, no, I'm not. And he's really, if you listen to his stuff, like he's really happy with the stuff that it's doing. But he's also really patient with the fact that it's going to mess up. But that's a different kind of sell.
Yeah, it's like almost like an order taking at that point.
Yeah, if I were going to do selling phone systems, for example, I would for sure use agents to go like to small businesses. I'm not having humans call restaurants. Like there's too many of them. The ACV will be too small. So like you got to go. Like I would have agents do it. But like I said, if I'm selling, complex systems into Citibank, I'm gonna have AI help me. But the humans will win that over. So
Dude, you awesome. You're like the wealth of knowledge, and you really got my next question is like, who are you? Who are you? Can you take me back in time to like little Craig days? Did you know you're gonna be a thought leader of thought leaders doing all this research, the center of the marketing and GTM universe? Did you know this? Could you foresee it? What was it like?
Well, that's hilarious. I always tell everyone this. Nobody leaves college going, "Oh, I cannot wait to be a, SDR leader or whatever, or a thought leader in B2B marketing and sales." You sort of leave college with all this hope. You go through college with all this hope that you're going to be the next, Dwayne Johnson or
Sure.
The Rock or Elon Musk or something. You don't really factor these things in.
Like, you went to school you went to school for poli sci, so, like, before you went to school for that, what was it like? What were you around that made you go, "Yeah, I wanna do a little politics," or was this, like, pre-law or something? What was this?
So I went to UCLA before tech had really hit. That's how old I am. Oracle people worked at Oracle, back home. But UCLA was Hollywood. I thought I was going to go into Hollywood. Uh, and so I interned at Disney. I interned at ABC, and I interned at an agency. I had played that so well. I had all three covered. And because I loved entertainment. I still do. I'm like the streamer of streamer. Everyone goes, "What's your hobby?" I don't want to tell them. It's like, dude, I go home and I find out some new murder mystery. I want to go stream and I watch that. Um, so like I loved it. I just, it wasn't for me. And I learned that. And so frankly, I went home and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I taught for a year because I thought, well, you know, I want to do something that makes me happy, and I like helping people, so I did that. And then I would go into the teachers' lounge, and everyone was in there smoking cigarettes, waiting for their retirement to hit. They were just unhappy, and I told my dad, and he's like, "Look, you can always go back to teaching, man. You should try new things." So, I lived in San Francisco like everyone else, and everyone that was a liberal arts major from the UC system, went to Oracle and the inside sales team. I didn't get a job there, but I went to like uh, a company that had hired a bunch of Oracle leaders. So I got referred into. It's called Pure Atria. Ready for this fun fact? It was Reed Hastings, his first big hit. Everyone thinks he started Netflix from his garage. Yeah, but it was like a $40 million garage. This guy made hundreds of millions. This company I got hired there. 6 months later, we got bought. 4 months later after that, we got bought by IBM. Like I was only there for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And it was like, holy shit, this business is crazy. And back then, you could sell stuff like as long as you got a hold of someone, you had a chance. It was just different times, but I still hated it. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I definitely realized then I was entrepreneurial, and I tried some different things before I ended up working for a consultancy sales ramp. So I didn't know what I was. I was like an inside sales rep. I tried marketing. I tried all this stuff. I didn't even put it on my LinkedIn. And then in 2000, I started working for a guy named Stu Silverman who had a company called Sales Ramp, and we built inside sales and sales development teams in the Valley. And I realized that I had a talent for, I could take my desire to help people. I wasn't a good rep, but I was good at looking at the business and helping people organize strategy, people, process, technology. And that got me going there. And that was like, I wasn't a thought leader, but I was definitely knew that it felt good to know something nobody else knew. And that got me off. And I realized, oh, I can be in this business and really like it. And then from there, it just kind of took off. We can go to the thought leadership thing in a sec. Poli sci, bro, you just bringing it up makes me remember I had that as a major. You know why that was my major? Because the junior year, I go into the counselor. She's like, well, to graduate, you're going to have a major. I didn't have a major for 2 years. I'm like, oh, well, I have no idea. She's like, well, look, you've taken a bunch of poli-sci history, like you're far along here. You can graduate on time if that's one of your major choices. So I'm like, great, poli-sci. They were my favorite classes. History was also some of my favorite classes. But I just ended up there. There was no, like, I did not go in there. No, I mean, I didn't go in there, no, I want to go to Hollywood. I thought I was going to join the film school, but they only took like 100 people. And so that's how I ended up on the major side. But by the way, on the this funny story on how the thought leadership stuff hit. So I helped found a company called Tippett, and we were a business media company. We did demand gen, and the CEO Scott Albro, one day he pulls me downstairs and he's like, "Listen, you need to start a blog." And I'm like, "Okay, what's that?" That's how, by the way, long ago it was. And he's like, don't ask me, dude. Go ask the SEO guy. So I go and ask him. His name's Brian Provost. He's like a GM at Yahoo now. The guy's a stud. And he's like, just download WordPress and start writing what you know about. So I start writing, and here's what happened. One, I wrote an article on some guy's gaming Wikipedia. And I didn't know this, but there's an army of Wikipedia sort of God, they're beyond, they're like hardcore army that just protects the sanctity of Wikipedia. And I ripped these guys because basically what they did was they gamed Wikipedia and then talked about it, and 4 hours later Wikipedia just frickin' took them down. So I wrote it. This is like right up my alley, dude, right? Like it was like funny, brutal, whatever. I wrote it. The Wikipedia guys just start sharing my blog. Like we just looked at the numbers. They just went like this. I'm like, holy crap. Like, wow. Of course, then I tried another one to try to boost traffic again, but it was over. I had sort of got that boost. But it came at the same time that the marketing automation guys were coming up. And they had realized that you need these third-party thought leaders. So like Marketo, Pardot, well, less Pardot, and Marketo and Eloqua were like, we need thought leaders. And I had been writing and my blog took off accidentally. I was an accidental tourist. I did write a lot about marketing automation because I loved it, man. I came from that game. I'm like, God, we need this. And so they're like, hey, this guy, Craig, you got to see this guy. He's got this amazing blog and he writes about it all the time. So they started putting me in webinars and speaking at their conferences. And then all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, I'm the funnelholic. Yeah, I did not. There was nothing purposeful about it. Not even fake. I'm not even being fake. It was like, oh, wow, this is cool. And then I loved it. And then from there, just kind of leveraged that reputation and built companies around it like Topo. And, now I'm sort of rebuilding my thought leadership platform. So there you have it. That's Craig Rosenberg.
But what's his favorite color?
Blue. Is that boring?
And what's your mother's maiden name?
What has happened? Are you guys going to break into my Social Security?
You gotta break into your bank account?
Actually, that there is some interesting stuff there. My mom is Japanese Hawaiian, so my name's Craig Rosenberg. My mom's maiden name is Susan Doi, D-O-I, which is a Japanese name.
Do you speak any Japanese?
No.
Have you ever been to Japan?
Yes. My brother lives there. He lives in Kobe.
Oh, he lives there.
Yeah, he's been there for 10 years. He loves it. Yeah, that dude, he's just an amazing guy. I like sit here sometimes and I'm like, making money and doing, that guy like is dedicated to life and his family. And like, he can raise his kids in like a really great way out there. And he just, he does his thing. And I envy him in many ways,
Well, I've got a question for you. Bit of a hypothetical question. If you're ready for this challenge, sir.
Go.
Okay. I may or may not have a time machine here in New Hampshire. So you come do a Boston event, or maybe you come to Inbound when they bring it back to where it's supposed to be in Boston. And you drive up like an hour north and we hang out. We get some beer, some lobster, and then let's go. We use a time machine. And spoiler, it's in the backyard covered in a tarp. So we use this time machine, particular kind of time machine. You get to go visit yourself 4 days after getting that poli-sci degree. And we've already talked about that degree and where that's led to after that. But you get to talk to that Craig. What do you tell him?
Oh, geez. I tell him, there's no hurry. And it sucks, man. I keep telling these young folks, and they're like, I got to get in and be an SDR. I'm like, bro, just can you move to like Costa Rica for a while? Like, you can make mistakes, and if you can afford them, you can make mistakes. And that, I think, is the most important message. The second one, leveraging the you can make mistakes, is like, just figure out who you are, man. Like, it is way more nuanced than people tell you. Like, I had to figure out what makes me happy at work.
Wow. So the natural follow-up to that answer is, do you think you would listen to yourself?
Well, I did. I mean, I moved to Spain. I forgot to say that. But like, I should have stayed out there. But all my friends were working at, and talking about it, how much money they were making, all this stuff. It wasn't that I wanted the money. It's just that it's very competitive. I think I should have stayed a little longer because truthfully, I didn't figure out who I was until I was 30. And, I'm like, I don't think I would have listened to myself, but I hope I do.
30 though. Hey, if you can figure that stuff out by 30, rock on. You see all these kind of posts of like different actors and different people that didn't get their first role till they were in like their 50s or 60s, and you think, oh, okay. I think it was the guy that played God in a lot of the Jim Carrey movies. I forget his name. But anyways, yeah, you didn't start, that particular career till way later. So we got time.
I could still be an actor. I'm 53.
You could.
Yeah, get my big role at 55. So we'll see.
That's it. It's coming. It's coming. You just got, but hey, you'll make 0% of the movies you don't audition for,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, dude, how do people connect with you? Where do you want them to go? Shout out the pod, shout out the links. Want me to check out Scale? Where do you want people to go? How can they connect with you?
Well, I think if they want me, I'm a LinkedIn guy, so I would do two things. One is reach out to me on LinkedIn on my personal, and also follow the Transaction Pod on LinkedIn. You'll get lots of videos, which Casey didn't mention, but he helped co-found the Transaction Pod. The second part is Scale. Go to Scale VP, go to Perspectives. All of our content is there for free. You can grab it. And then the third is we're having a go-to-market summit November 6th in New York at the Brandt Foundation. It's going to be dope. If you want to go to that, if you hit me on my LinkedIn channels, Casey will be there. It'll be amazing.
Hold for awesome event. Boom, in the calendar. And everyone else should do that too. We'll see you all in New York. We'll have a little party.
And I like to do it, so we'll do it.
Dude, we gotta do, we gotta do it again.
We were the two oldest guys there, and we were like, where are you guys going? We're still going.
Everyone else went to bed.
It was like 3 a.m. You're like, let's play a game. I remember that or something. I'm like, shit, this guy.
Well, dude, Craig, thank you so much for coming on here. I feel like this was a masterclass in go-to-market and AI and just having friggin' fun and finding out what you're supposed to be doing in life. So I'm just stoked. So many takeaways. Speak the language. We're in phase 1 right now. Let's not get twisted about that 5% from New York Times. A lot of good stuff in this whole conversation. So thank you.
You bet.
Crazy. And for those listening, if you learned something, I freaking know you did because I literally have 2 pages of notes over here, front and back. Then share this with someone. 1 person, 2 people, 3. 9,000 is actually pretty sweet, but even 1 person, like who needs to hear this? Is someone a little confused? Are their expectations incorrectly set about what AI is supposed to be doing right now? Get them this episode. Let them learn from Craig. And go register for those events and listen to Craig's podcast. And with that, Craig, thank you again, sir.
You bet, man. That was fun as hell.
All right, fun as hell. And guys, this has been another crazy, exciting episode of the Hardcore Marketing Show. We will see you all next time.